welcome back to episode, I believe, 7 of We Making It Woo! Always remember, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can email me at Katie, that's Kadie, smiles, because my smile is cute, .nyc, because that's where we are at. What am I reading? Because we're going to get right into it. I'm still working through Homie Don't Play That, guys. I swear to you, I'm going to finish that book in this month. I really promise. And if you're a new listener, Homie Don't Play That is the story of the rise and fall, or the rise and maybe the ending of In Living Color by David Peisner. David, I'm really sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm also still making my way through In the Company of Women. Today, I read Mary, I'm not going to remember your last name, so maybe I shouldn't say it. And another woman whose name I'm also going to mispronounce, but she's a fashion designer in Lagos, Nigeria. Guys, if you don't have In the Company of Women, please go get it. Like I said last week, it is a big book, so this is not the book you want to take on your New York commute, because it's like a textbook, but it's a really, really beautiful book full of women who are entrepreneurs and making their creative pursuits their lives. And each page goes into like their story of like how they became, and also some of the ways they've navigated challenges. So it's a great, great group. But also, guys, and so shout out to my girlfriend Emily, but Emily doesn't like when I read In the Company of Women by myself because we're supposed to read it together. And so I had to pick up another book, and I'm reading You Are a Badass by, y'all know this book. It's bright. It's yellow. It's a really good book. It's like, y'all, she got like 3-4 books, and I'm just like late to the game. It's a really, really great book. If you like Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, or Pema Chondra's When Things Fall Apart, or Marianne Williamson's something like End of All Things, all those like self-help books that basically talk about consciousness and you raising your frequency, is right in that vein. So if you like all those books, go read it. Guys. So I was talking to my special guest, who I have not introduced yet, because just give it a second. They're coming. Guess what I did last night? I went to the movies. Oh my gosh. Shout out to AMC. They have $5 Tuesdays. If you're looking for balling on a budget with somebody, take them on Tuesday, and it's $5, and you can go see a movie. My girlfriend and I saw Green Book. Now, I know there's some controversy about the maker of the movie not being a person of color, and the story is heavily about a man of color. I just want to say Mahershala Ali, and what is his name? I know he's from Lord of the Rings, so don't be coming to me. Viggo Mortensen. Y'all, this movie was so good and tender and thoughtful. Just thinking about what it means to be complex, I think this movie captured a lot of complexities between relationships. It is a timepiece because it's set in the early 1950s. I think they did a great job of maybe taking a glance on what it looks like to go into the South, but like look into different states. I'm from Texas, if you don't know. I say it all the time. And it is very different going from like Louisiana to Texas to Alabama, Mississippi. Like, yes, we're all the South, but everybody has their own temperament. And I think the problems that each of them had to negotiate in the places that they were in, I just thought that they were super authentic. Mahershala Ali, if you listen to this podcast, can I just let you know that I think you're just like beautiful and smart and talented and just so multifaceted. Like, I adore all that you are and all that you've been able to bring light to in your creative pursuits. You're the bomb.com. So shout out to Green Book. I know the Oscars are coming. I hope you win everything. Now, without further ado, guys, I have 2 really, really lovely special guests. Can you introduce yourselves?
Hello, guys. It's Camry Akeem.
And Dubois Akeem.
Woo! If you don't know who they are, Google them because they're that legit. Yes, and they have a bomb website. I remember when you guys launched the website, and I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming. And then it was available, and I like went on, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I know, I'm a bit much, but the website is also pretty legit. So like, get with it. Okay, so as always, what are you guys making individually and together.
You go first, because what you're making is way better than what I'm making.
I mean, right now, like what we're making together.
Yeah,
say
but
we're
you're
making together.
mostly making it.
Well, we're making a baby right now.
Which is amazing. Everybody go be parents. Not true,
no,
but
don't.
I want to retract that statement. I don't mean that.
If you would like to be a parent,
We encourage
you should
it.
do that. And if you don't, that's all good too.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you working on?
What am I making? So a few things, I guess, through our business. So my wife and I, founded and have a creative agency / production company where we work primarily in film, fashion, and dance. So that looks like a lot of things, but one of the things that we're working on pretty regularly right now is this film series called Campfire Poetry.
Yes.
With my co-producer. It was founded by my co-producer, Max Rothman.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing this film series, which is an intersection of film, poetry, and dance, and music. I would add music. And so, yeah, we're working on that. I just directed a film, the most recent one that we're in post with now. I directed it at Pier 59 and shot with amazing, brilliant artist Michael Jackson Jr. from Ailey. I was able to bring on my brother Elon Lays, who's a visual artist, and he's brilliant. And then my wife was the wardrober / costume designer, so she crushed it, and it looked stunning. And I can't wait to finish editing it so that we can share it with the world. And I'm putting emphasis on every last word that I say because that's how I feel. And that's what I'm making. So we're making a lot of things, but that's kind of like at the forefront of the things we're making.
And that should come out in March, right?
Beginning of March, end of February. And then, as my wife said, we're making a baby. And
which is coming out.
At the end of April.
End of April.
How
Coming
exciting. Okay, so
Spring.
I think I want to definitely go back because you
Mhm.
guys, that was a lot. Let's take it from the top.
Okay, great.
So, yes, how did you guys meet?
We met when we were when we were 8 at summer camp.
Shut the front door.
And-
What summer camp? Can we shout them out?
Yes, NYSP.
NYSP, National Youth Sports Program. Do they
That's what
even
it-
exist anymore?
They should. That
They
was
probably got a new moniker, but they got the same camp.
I think it was actually originally called Negro Youth Sports Program.
Do you really think that?
I really do think that. But I think that they changed it to National Youth Sports Program.
To make me more inclusive.
exactly, with
Get some
time.
couple more grants. I hear that.
Get the money. So, yes.
I honestly don't think that that's.
I want to believe that in my
I
heart.
know you do.
But anyway.
He does that sometimes. But yeah, we met when we were 8 and at a summer camp.
She was 8. I was 9.
Gotcha.
And that was just when we saw each other. Like, I mean, it was a small town. So, like, everybody kind of knew each other. So, everybody kind of met when they were, like, 8.
Where are you guys from originally?
Albany, Georgia,
Yes.
the Good Life City.
Yes.
But he was a bad boy, and he was never really with the group. So, he was always, like, in timeout.
And so she fell in love with me is what she's saying.
I never got to see him. So, I was always this, like, exclusive thing. Like, if he were my friend, then it would be kind of exclusive.
I was her first crush. And she always doesn't want to, like, she never wants to say that because I guess it makes her feel some way about her ego. Because I didn't like her when we were young.
No, you didn't really know
me to like you. Exactly.
Right. I remember a lot of kids being like, why would I like you if I don't know you?
Exactly. But
Very valid.
she knew me because I was hot stuff. And she
Wow.
liked
Or
me.
bad stuff.
You were bad. You
Which
were
could-
bad boy.
I
Which
wasn't
could-
bad. See, this is what we have to deconstruct that. That's the narrative that they always want to put on young black males who are active and creative and innovative.
But
and so
were
they want to
you-
label you as
you
bad.
But
Say
were you
bad things.
innovative in such a way that you weren't listening?
That I cannot answer. I plead the fifth. But what I will say is that she had a crush on me. We didn't know. I didn't know
I
her.
don't think it was a crush. I think that I just thought that you
Intriguing.
looked nice. I thought you looked nice.
And you probably know, if guys, you know Dubois, he probably did look so good in timeout.
I looked so good. Anyway, so then fast forward.
Are you blushing?
I'm blushing so hard right now. Fast forward through high school and middle school and all that stuff, and then get to college. I started working for this company that was basically a startup at the time, but it was a healthcare career center. And the CEO wanted to bring me on as a marketing guy, human relations marketing guy. She also went to my church. Long story short, I was in between housing because of my situation, because I was an RA in junior college. And I was in between housing, and she was like, oh, well, you can just stay on the other side of my house. It's big, and that can be your pay for working for this company.
Oh, great.
And that will save money with the company. You'll have housing, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, it ends up being Camry's mom.
Shut the front door.
Yeah. And we're like talking about this one day, and she's like, oh, I think you know my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. You know who? And she's like, Camry Winford. And I'm like, what? I didn't know it was your daughter. I used to have a crush on her. She's so sexy.
Wait. Can we pause?
Yeah.
Because you just gave Camry like a good 5 minutes on how much she had a crush on you, but you didn't tell us that you had a crush on her.
So this is the thing that
This
is the plot twist. When we were in high school, I would see her because she danced for the band, like the dance line group.
Yes.
And I announced for my school's band and also was like a choreographer for the dance line. So I would see her over there, in the South, like if you're that fair skinned from that far away, you're white.
Right.
So I thought I was like, who is this white girl on this dance line? Like she can dance, you know what I mean? So
I
I
don't
was
think I
always
ever heard that part. I think my feelings just got a little hurt.
It's okay, babe. You're so black. But I would see her and I would be like, man, this girl is really attractive. But in high school, like my attention was elsewhere. But I would always kind of just like, oh, okay.
She got a little
when I
something.
said I had a crush on her, that's
you
what
just
I
like
meant.
peeped her.
I peeped
you
her.
seen
I
around
saw
the
her
way.
like, oh, okay, shawty, I see you. like that, but not really. Anyway, so then I started working for this lady.
Which is her mom.
Which is her mom. I'm living in the house and she starts coming home.
Which is creepy.
Anyway,
Conflict of interest.
But I was very clear from the first time I saw her come home that she was my wife. I was like, I'm going to marry her. So then I started...
Wait, no. Come on now.
She
what was it
came
about her that made you
home.
think that she was going to be your wife? Was it the way that she moved her hair? The way she touched her finger? Like, what was it?
I was around
Do tell.
her mom, and we would talk about her all the time. And she'd be like, she would constantly say, she'd be like, you remind me so much of my daughter. Like, y'all act just alike. Y'all both a little, something like
in your own
lane. That's what she would
say.
always say. She's like, y'all in y'all own lane. And I'm like, okay, dope. And so she would talk about her all the time. And then I started kind of like soft stalking her on social
When he
media.
says soft stalking, he's like always in my DM, and I'm like I'm not answering back at all.
Oh, wow.
But I was just like, yo, it's good. Like, oh, I remember
and this is
you
when
from
Twitter
young.
was really like
Twitter was
in,
popping.
and so it would be what was it called? The language?
The mentioning, the subtweeting.
Subtweeting. That's what he would do. It's like
like, oh, somebody hasn't messaged me back in a while. Hashtag
But not
subtweet.
adding.
Oh my gosh.
that's some old
petty, passive aggressive.
It was more like
but like actually like
aggressive.
completely aggressive.
Yeah.
So Dubois and I had a conversation. We're both Capricorns, and some of this behavior is actually quite familiar. There's another couples episode with another Capricorn, and I really think we're going to compare these episodes because I really think there's something in this Capricornness that really is just like a through line.
There's something there.
I stand with you.
We know what we want, and we go after it.
And obviously, like, we thought about what we wanted before we went after.
We
So, like,
counted up the
obviously,
cost. We took inventory, and we're very clear about the vision. We set it out, and we do it. I told people I was going to marry her. I asked her father, could I marry her while she had a boyfriend?
Because obviously he was there. Like,
Well,
He
and we
was
were
not
out to
the
eat.
one.
We were out to eat at this, like, it was almost
Cracker
supposed to be
Barrel.
like this business.
oh my gosh, I love Cracker Barrel.
After business meet, like
Whatever.
lunch, brunch.
It was her
thing.
dad, her mom, me, and her. Because I worked for the business. She was
Right,
there as a daughter.
right.
Whatever.
This is so.
platonic.
And he asked my dad, "Can I marry your daughter?"
I was like, she doesn't like me right now. She will. Can I marry her?
I'm just.
He said yes.
But he said yes.
A
My
year
dad's
later,
like-
we were dating. We were courting. And then 4 years later, we were married. here we are. Now we're having a baby.
It was really weird. It was weird during the time.
But was it though?
It was.
She was
It honestly
so
was.
into it.
I-
So ridiculous.
It was honestly weird. A lot. It became a lot. But then I kind of gave in because you were cute.
Because we always are. Like in such a way that.
Smile. Whatever. So yeah, here we are.
So, but that does create some questions though. So, which is what I love. So, obviously you got married, but getting married doesn't necessarily go in hand in hand with like co-founding a business, guys.
Right.
So, can you talk me through how some of your natural abilities became like intertwined so seamlessly? Because you guys you guys have a brand together.
Yeah.
You literally just said that you did a film that that is working. That's almost like dreaming together.
Yeah.
Dubois is Capricorn, so I don't know if you thought that this was going to happen, but I mean, if you did, tell me. But yeah, can you tell me a little bit about how those braids began to like weave themselves?
I think it's all in the in our story of how we even got together. Like my mom was always talking about how much we thought like similar, how much we were always compatible in some way. So there was always that chemistry there.
Yeah.
But I think that as far as us being partners and working in a business together, our the things that we brought to the table was, for me, is the background work. I'm like a stickler for like research and setting foundation and finances, and like I'm like I don't love paperwork, but I love security. Like I love securing things, and
Dubois does, I wouldn't. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that's not Dubois' strength.
my husband, he's good. He's good at it, but I feel like he's so much better at setting the vision and saying, I think we should do this, and me doing the logistics part of it. And
Right.
he's such a great like talker and the face of the like, I'm just like, you can have that, I'll come in with like shades or whatever and, just be behind the scenes looking cute, and that's fine. But just, I can handle everything else in the back and behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And also like just when we were dating, we dreamed together so often. Like it became it was always like we started off as friends. And so we would always stay up until wee hours of the night, 3 a.m. in the morning.
Was this back when you had like a landline? Like were y'all talking on the phone, or were y'all like together? Because you were living there.
Yeah, he was living there.
You just walked down the hall.
Yeah. Yeah, he was living there, and like he became like one of my best friends, and so we would just like stay up and like talk and dream about going taking trips, like going like just so beyond. And to me, like I was dating guys who I couldn't really do that with, because they were so like into like looks or like whatever, like superficial things. And I mean, I'm like into paper, and with Doobie, that's what I call him, Doobie. He was just able to go there with me. We would literally take off like and just like think together. Literally, like in the first year, well, during our whole dating, like we would just dream.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And also too, like I am one of those people that that's why I read the books that I do. I am one on like frequency. And I do think that there is a really special moment when you can take off with somebody. There's a certain amount of like limitlessness that maybe certain people bring out in you.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's such a gift when that person is somebody that you think you could also spend a life with.
Yeah.
I think that that's super special. For those of you who don't know, this whole Power Couple series, yes, you guys are a power couple. Yes. The whole Power Couple series was really, I think with that in mind, I am the kind of person that I want to see what I believe, and it's around me. I just want to bring it closer to me. And I think if I bring it closer to me, then I bring it closer to my community and you can see it. And I I would go on a limb to say that a lot of people don't believe that limitlessness is real or possible.
Yeah.
And I just want to echo that. Like, I'm sitting with two people who not only believe it, but like are creating a little being that's also going to be limitless, y'all. I'm also just like not the person for like babies because I love pregnancy and couple. I just love love and how it can be birthed.
I want to add something to that. Lord, she's tearing. This is too
So
much.
beautiful.
Oh my God.
All the limitlessness. Oh, it's fine.
No, but what I will say is I think there were some practical things that were put in place
Okay.
that positioned us for partnership, for dreaming together, for both practical things and like some things that people may have been like, that's weird. Like,
For example,
we would literally go get breakfast in the morning at like McDonald's. This is when we were still eating fast food because we were in college. We would go get breakfast in the morning. My wife had a Jeep. We would drive the Jeep and we would talk about being in another country. We would be like, so where are we having breakfast today? And I remember one time explicitly like driving back to the parking lot of my dorm. We would drive back to the parking lot of my dorm room and sit in the parking lot and be like pretending like we were on this like, I don't know, pied à terre in like Pari, like having breakfast and like having tea, which was like sweet tea from McDonald's.
yes,
But in our minds, it was like hot tea,
English breakfast,
like on a window with like fabrics floating and like looking over the village. Like we would literally do weird things like that and be like, I mean, it was just like
Conjuring.
we were literally like bringing it into our reality in those
Yeah.
moments in these really extravagant ways. Like we were allowing ourselves to be expansive in our reality in that way.
Yeah.
And then another thing I think that we set up that made time for that and didn't cause us to be focused on some other things. Like we from day one we're waiting until marriage to come together physically.
Yeah.
And to have sex. And so because we weren't intimate in that way,
You could be
our
intimate
intimacy
in so other
our
ways.
intimacy was really these like 8-hour-long conversations.
Yeah.
Of like me really understanding how does this person think, how does this person see the world,
Yeah.
how does this person dream, and then being able to be in conversation with that. And that was for 4 years.
Yeah.
And we also lived in 2 different places. So that first summer, it was a summer love. Like she came home that one time and then she started coming home a lot.
Obviously.
Because I was there. But she would like stay for like 3-4 day weekends.
'Cause
Like she would come home
like-
Thursday night and leave like Monday morning to drive back to school in Valdosta.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, I started dancing around the same time started training as a dancer around the same time that we started being together. So then I went to Florida State and she was at Valdosta State. So our interaction was always so like intense and precious because like we were living in 2 different places. So I think that all of those things were like set up for by the time we got married. Like when we were dating, we were talking about doing conferences and like I remember like building out like logos with her like and like just saving things to like Google or whatever for like a woman's conference or a men's conference or like a thing and like red and gold was going to be the colors and like
schemes.
and all these things. And so by the time we got married, it was so tangibly a part of our relationship. Like we knew we were going to build a business together. We knew we were going to build something together, whether it was a business, a brand, a platform.
Right.
And so it was just about over time that coming to a head.
Yeah.
And we're still discovering what that looks like.
But I also there were so many things that I kind of want to just echo. So similar to like, so let's just say because most of you guys out there are dancers. The the first time you do a plie, it's probably not the greatest. But, or like, let me take it even a step further. The first time you see, like, I remember watching Save the Last Dance when she auditions for Juilliard and thinking like, oh my gosh, I could do that too. And so you take all these steps to just make that dream a reality. And so what's been really fascinating with all of the couples that I have been able to talk to is that the same way that you have a dream and then you take steps forward to get to that sounds exactly like what you guys did.
Yeah.
You literally maybe had that feeling of like, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to be. And then you just took steps, and just so happened that you found someone that was also taking the same steps naturally. And as you guys took steps together, they were able to feed each other. Another thing that I want to talk about too, disclaimer, I'm a little bit more old school. Like, yes, for those of you who know me personally, my family's very, very young. But I think I have an old spirit. Do y'all remember like Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? Like, I just remember
Yes.
I just remember this one episode of Sister Sister, and they were like talking, the guy and the girl were talking on the phone. And you know how I don't know if y'all remember, but if you had like the wire phone and you couldn't leave because the cord was too short. So you had to just stand in the kitchen, which is where ours was, and you leaning up, posting up on the wall, just chit-chatting it up. Cordless phones didn't come out until much later. I go on that nostalgic trip to just, I think, echo what intimacy maybe looks like in my childhood. Not even just with intimate partners, but I remember like watching movies with my friends, and you would pause it at the same time because somebody had to go to the bathroom, and then you press play, and then you literally watch the movie with the person like talking to them about what's happening.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, y'all, we probably seen that movie like 5,000 times, but watching it with them was this whole nother experience.
Right.
I don't know, and I just think that speaks to the level of intimacy that you guys are able to create. Just this time that was reserved for you guys to be whatever it meant for you.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult sometimes in New York City to have that time. Also, we're not 13 putting our toes in the cord of the phone, but I just think that that's really important in terms of like building things. How do you set that time to say this is our time to be limitless together, despite which is a perfect segue. There are a lot of things you guys are doing that I would say growing up would have been deemed like, what? Not only impossible, but like definitely in your own lane. What lane is that? Was what my mama probably would have asked. How has your partnership, I mean, I think you've echoed this, but I really maybe want to make it a bit more tangible. You guys are like building something that I think in some ways doesn't even exist. How did your partnership hold space? Were there moments of adversity? Were there moments of insecurity? You guys are like visionaries. How did your partnership create safe space for the highs and the lows of that, considering it is such like, it's epic?
Yeah. You should go first. I just finished talking. You should go.
So I think that the question. I'll just go ahead and say, because I mean I'm a Christian. I think that I know that it was both of our faith in God, and God being Jesus Christ. And I think that, there are so many ups and downs. And there's always ups and downs. Even when we were dating, there were ups and downs because, he is like
long distance.
It was long distance.
I'm stupid sometimes.
Boys are boys,
Women are crazy.
I was gonna say, I'm crazy too.
It's a whole thing.
So there's that, and then once we got married, there was before. I think we had to learn first to put our marriage first.
Huge.
Because we went from just dating and being this like cute couple that was like, people were like, oh my God, you guys are so great, and this and
Cam
that.
and Doobie,
we were so
hashtag.
gassed up.
Super gassed.
Going in to the marriage that our pride just got the best of us, and we were just kind of hanging on to past words when we needed to create, Cam and Doobie being married. Like, what does that look like? And so in all of this, we were also still visioning for a business because that's just in us to, and it's always been in us to be like, to build a business, to build some sort of empire and to be like great. But we didn't have the foundation. We didn't have the, we didn't build a foundation of a strong marriage. And with that came ups and downs. Like, I think it wasn't until the second year, that, not second year, maybe it wasn't until later that in the first year that we were able to pinpoint what it was. And that was to just really lean into our marriage and put each other first and love each other well and understand that we weren't each other's enemy. Like, and for me, like so many things like came, like moving to New York, being married. And it was like, it was our first time like to intimate, we waited for marriage. That's a real thing. Yeah. And so, so that was new. And living with a guy was new. Like everything was new. So
it's new. Yeah.
So it was like it was tough. But once we decided that we were on each other's team and we were for each other and we were going to put each other first over any type of gig or any type of job. Like there was a point where if we had a disagreement, we would literally shut everything down.
Shut down everything.
If there was a gig to go to, we would reschedule the gig. Like if there was anything, it could be big, it could be huge. Yeah. It could be huge. I remember Doobie just passing up. Like, I think I'm gonna cry because it just really spoke to like how much he wanted the marriage over anything and wanted me over anything. And same for me. Like there were some times where I was like, okay, I can't go into this gig or I'll need to be a little bit late for work for this because we really need to work this thing out. I think once we did that for a season, like we did that for almost a year.
Absolutely a year.
We kind of just stopped doing that. Yeah. And then we were comfortable enough to say, and not even just comfortable enough, but we learned to work together in the business, and we're comfortable enough to say, "Oh, go get that money, like go to the gig,
secure the bag, and bring it home,
and then we can come back and figure this part out." Yeah,
but also too, is that not what maybe our teachers used to tell us about, like getting a double pirouette? Like, this is not your season. Like, you have to focus on this.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get better. I remember, shout out to Miss Bell at Eisenhower High School in Houston, Texas, right there off of, what's that, Antoine Gulf Bank. I just remember she being really honest with me. Like, you're not flexible. You're not flexible. You cannot turn. Your jumps are not high. Why would I put you on stage? And I know that people are like, but Katie, that's not the same. But it is. Like, essentially, how can I take this job and this really special part of me is not where it's supposed to be? And I could ask, if that special part of you isn't aligned where it needs to be, then a lot of the other things that you do kind of could get it in the crossfire.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, I say that because I was talking to Natty and Hollis, shout out to you guys, about, I was talking to them about like, what does that look like? Hold on, guys, I lost my train of thought. But I was talking to them about how we set the foundation of things and how similar relationships are to training. But most of the dancers that I know don't date. Mm. And how we are in this practice that is so intimate and so vulnerable, but then somehow we lose it when we get to our intimate partners. Mm. And how, like, such a disservice. Like, I feel like dancers are magical because we've trained to be vulnerable. Yeah. Be that dancers, musicians, etc. Artists have trained themselves to be vulnerable in such a way that it's beneficial. And then how do we lose that when we are with the person that could essentially help us to just be greater and more vulnerable and more supported in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny you talk about that because I think coming in, I knew that. Like, I was like, I'm so open, like I'm so vulnerable, like I'm so thoughtful, like I'm so articulate, like I know how to facilitate a conversation that can have tension inside of it and there can be space for that. And like I can really like assess the need and really be able to meet that. And I think that that's cute when you are dealing with yourself and even when you're dealing with a community or a body of people. But what I've learned, and I'm so thankful to the work of Urban Bushwomen. Shout out to Urban Bushwomen.
Shout out to you guys. I love you guys so much. You know that I love you so much. And also
My
just
goodness.
like, great job, guys, and good luck on the show this week.
Yeah, like that's the company I dance with. And so, but I think that having that analysis and that ideology and that methodology falsely set me up in a way where I was like, I didn't know how to integrate those things in a authentic way inside of my marriage.
Yeah.
Because my wife was like, I don't need a facilitator right now. Like I need you to talk to me. And
Right.
I need you to not talk. I need you to listen. And I need you to
Yeah.
actually listen for the sake of hearing what I'm saying and not for the sake of anecdote
Right.
what you think I need or
Right.
or helping me get my stuff together. It's like your stuff is jacked too. And so
Right.
there was this real season of like, I mean, this is ongoing here now season. Like being inside of marriage for me and being that close to someone and allowing somebody to see, because everybody else is like, Dubois, you're so great. Like round of applause. And then you have someone who's like, no, I see your flaws. I see your ups. I see your downs. I see the stuff that you don't even see, you know?
Right.
And really making yourself available to that in the same way that you would with an instructor, but even more so because now you're
Even
talking
more
about
so.
emotional baggage. You're talking about family history. You're talking about ignorance when it comes to even what does it mean to be a husband, a father, a partner in this construct or in this relationship.
Right.
So I think that for me, it was really like getting real about that and still undoing some of that so that I can live authentically inside of my marriage and not feel like I need to be the facilitator inside of my marriage.
Yeah.
Do those tools and training principles come in handy in moments? Absolutely.
Right.
But I think that there has to be that real time, real life, in the moment sensitivity to your partner's needs, to your partner's wants, to your partner's desires, and then also a heightened awareness around your own needs, wants, and desires. Because for 3 years, I didn't even know what I needed. She'd be like, so what do you need? I'd be like, I'm good. No, I'm good.
What do you need?
Let's deal with your needs because I'm going to be fine.
And it's
You know
so
what I
funny
mean?
because I'm like, I like to, when someone asks me, what do I want or what do I need? I go into this thing of where I'm like, so if there's anything in the world right now that I could get or want, like, and I could get it, like.
She gets really specific.
And very. It would be this.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
I feel like that's the best for a Capricorn. Like, oh, you need that? Or watch me get it for you.
Right. But what it did, because I wasn't clear about my needs, and I wasn't even clear that I had needs, I would be like, I over time, I started to be resentful. So then I'm like, every time she said a need, I'm like, oh, I need that too. Me too. That's what I need. Oh, you need that? That's what I need. Because I had not done the work in myself because I had built a capacity for suffering.
Yeah.
I had built a capacity for scarcity. I had built a capacity for living in lack.
Yeah.
And not having my needs met. And so then it was like, oh.
Normalized too. Like even the conversation.
And celebrated.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, you're
because
so
you can endure.
Amazing. You never need anything. Like Dubois is going to be good.
Yes.
He can sleep on the floor. Whatever the thing is.
Meanwhile, I'm rolling my eyes like, boy.
Why?
Why are you putting yourself through that? Like you are choosing this part.
At this point, you're choosing that. And so it became this real, and I'm still in that process of like really being clear. And so now I'll be like last night I was like sitting around and I was like, oh, I'm getting irritable. I need to eat. Like I'll just come out and like, it can almost sound like arbitrary or random, but I'm just like, I have to be in a practice
some people,
of naming my need. I have to be in a practice of identifying the need, being okay to say it, being open about that.
Because I was literally going to say too, at least for me, I've just been in a lot of situations where I feel like if I call my needs, they won't be met. And then I feel either A, like I wasn't good enough for my needs to be met, or B, something was wrong with me, or maybe it was the way that I said it. I just get very self-critical. So my solution was that, because I'm very solution-oriented, like, oh, I'm not going to say my needs. And then that way I don't have to negotiate these difficult feelings. But what I do love, and what I wish somebody maybe would have told me that kind of comes with partners, is that somebody may love you enough to be like, hey, I really want you to tell me your needs, because like I can make that happen. Because I'm just like, I don't have none. Because I don't want to even go through the process of telling you them, and then you don't meet them, and I'm going to get pissed off.
Right. Because our expectations are high. Like, I have actually really high expectations for the person that I'm with. And I'm like, I don't actually want to tell you what I need because I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
I'm not also.
That's a whole thing.
I have your back. I'm not going to set you up for failure. Right. I'm going to give you things or like tell you things that I know you're going to be able to meet. I know they're not going to create tension because I am a good partner. I'm going to make you feel good all the time. Keep in mind that, like, as I get a little older, I know people are supposed to be uncomfortable and blah, 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 blah. I know I'm working on it. But it comes from a really, really good place. But that is a great segue into what this partnership has been able to give birth to. Yes, a baby, but also a brand, but also just a completely different vision of support. Yeah. And how has that vision of support been able to take the dreams that you set out initially further?
I think at the heart of everything we do, we're looking for how can we add value and be a blessing to people. Mm-hmm. So one of our core statements, I mean, it literally is like a foundational statement for anything we do, is how can we serve you? Mm-hmm. So whether it's through the agency where we're connecting talent with client, or through the production company where we're, providing resource or providing creative direction or consultation or design, in whatever capacity that looks like. Mm-hmm. Or if it's through we have a community that we formed called the Tuesday thing. It's called T3, but we have this Tuesday gathering called the Tuesday thing. And it used to be every Tuesday for almost 2 years, and now we do one Tuesday a month. Excuse me. Through each of those mediums, through each of those like branches on this tree, it's about how do we serve people? How do we provide support that looks like that doesn't just look like carrying somebody through, but like support that looks like challenge, support that looks like opportunity, support that looks like critique, support that looks like community, support that looks like family. And so whether it's a client and we're like, how can we serve you? And we're the beautiful thing about our business is that we don't, myself and Camry aren't the end points. Right. We are the container holders. Mm-hmm. So we have a network, we have a net that's working of individuals who have different skill sets that we can outsource to. Mm-hmm. So through the agency, if somebody comes along and they're like, I want to get, I don't know, a haircut. Neither one of us is a cosmetologist, but I need a hairstylist for this shoot, this person is saying, person mm-hmm. X. So we will say, okay, who in our network do we know that does that? Mm-hmm. Who in our community do we know that provides that service? And then we can allocate that for them. Mm-hmm. So it becomes this thing of like really at the heart of everything we're doing, how do we serve people well? How do we support? How do we provide? And how do we do that at a high level?
But is that not what you guys have been then created for yourselves?
Absolutely.
And I wonder if like that root or that seed is literally like possible because you've cultivated it so strongly between the two of you.
Absolutely. I mean, you go. You're about to say something.
No, well, I was just going to say, like, also with T3, like for about 2 years, we, at the end of each meeting, would ask 3 3 questions. What are your needs, opportunities, and your celebrations? And with that, like when we first started asking it, people were like hung up about like needs. Like I don't
really need anything.
I
Like
don't
I
know
have
if I
everything I
need anything.
need. Like when you say need, you mean like need?
Yeah, and
I
then
got a home.
opportunities, that was okay. And then celebrations was also like a hang up too, because that's like it was people weren't I think needs and celebrations, the hang up kind of go hand in hand, because with celebrations people were like not used to being celebrated for, even when they did do like something great. They're just like either like being hated on or not feeling like they could have that even that community where they can just be great. Because I mean, family, can be kind of like, okay, like good for you,
yeah.
like
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. Yeah.
yeah. And then with needs, it's like I don't want to say that I need anything, because I want to be, I don't want to be a burden on you guys.
Right.
And so by opening that up and saying that every single week, for 2 years, like the people who came frequently, they were ready. Like they were ready to say their needs, opportunities, celebrations.
Yeah.
And then people, with that, like we had groups and groups at a time. This is a global community we're talking about. Like we had lots of people coming at a time. And so some people were coming in and out. People were like excited to say what they needed and whatever, and answer the questions. Other people were getting like prompted and getting encouraged to say what they needed, opportunities and celebrations. And I think with that, like that helped us see what people like, helped us build a foundation for our business, and help us see what people were actually looking for and needing. And it helped us to be just a vessel. It really helped us build foundation in around our business.
Yeah.
In our business.
And in our marriage, we started asking each other, what are your needs, wants, and desires? Like, what do you actually need? And I think what you're saying, this connection between our immediate partnership, our first order of business, which is our marriage, and then our larger business, which is our Keen brand.
Right.
Like those things work hand in hand. And my wife said it earlier, but I'll reiterate. We learned in this season, at least, that they feed one another.
Right.
Like if we're feeling, and this is just our story, we're not forcing this on anybody, but like if we're having some shaky something in the marriage and it's not quite, like something's feeling a little bit off, if we just work together and we put our hands to do something together, often it'll surface, or we'll learn, the thing will come up, whatever it is, that emotional thing that we're being affected by in our like personal intimate relationship, or vice versa. Like if something's a little bit off in the business, if we are feeding our marriage, like it feeds the business, because it's like, oh, that thing's connected to this thing, you know? And how we show up in our business is how we show up in our marriage.
Right.
Visioning, like, what about this crazy wild thing? Like, let's go do this, let's do da-da-da. You know, that's more my thing. My wife is more like, okay, so what's the practical? How are we saving? What's the thing over here? What's the budget? And so those things, they're mirroring each other. Our business is mirroring our relationship, and so, and so they're feeding one another.
Right. And I think when I decided to make the podcast, We Making It, I think I just wanted to be able to redefine what making it looked like.
Yeah.
And as of yet, my notion of making it happens to be with someone, because I am with someone. But I think that's important for me to remember, because I was up until like 23, 24, I was really, really clear that I could make it off of anything or nothing. And I think making this podcast, talking to you guys, talking to so many people, nobody makes it from nothing and no one.
No.
And I think, I don't know, I just feel like artists get the bad rap of like having to be these solo, sit in a corner, so totally invested in the art that they become not invested in anything else, because that's what the art needs. And I love the boldness that you guys are able to reflect with your marriage that your business has succeeded because your marriage was succeeded, because you were able to be vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
You were able to be vulnerable with other people. I can't express enough that like I didn't see that up until like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I just want that to be everywhere and anywhere, because it just reinstates that limitlessness.
Yeah.
And I think if someone makes you feel limitless, you probably will get close to it.
Yeah.
If not just be it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
I believe in love.
Yes.
I totally believe in it every day.
Yes.
Okay, so we got to get up out of here. I know this interview was definitely different from Hollis's and Natty's, but who cares? This is great because the questions do change, but I hope that you got something from it. Before we get out of here, you have to give me plugs. Where can they find you guys besides the website?
Besides the website, let's see. You can find me on Instagram at Camry Akeem. That's at CamryAkeen.
And I'm at Dubois Akeen, Dubois Akeen. I'm also on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. But if I don't know you and you request me on Facebook, I probably won't add you. But you can be my friend on Instagram and you can be my friend on Twitter. And I also have, that's enough.
Also, and they're really great. Guys, I did their form. Also, I think you both have like your emails available. Let me tell you, my stalking game is also kind of legit because I'm going to get where I'm trying to be. Because I'm going to get where I'm trying to get to. And people can answer my questions because I think I'm important.
Yes.
But what I love about you guys is that I think I found Dubois' email and then I filled out the sheet on the website.
Yeah.
So I casted a wide net and I caught a fish.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So if you're trying to reach out to them, cast a wide net and you'll get the fish.
Exactly.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, please email me at Katie, that's Kadie, smiles, because my smile is cute, .nyc@gmail.com. Don't forget, if you want to make it live, you want to make it breathe, guys, you just got to make it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
All right, guys, before we get out of here, I just want to shout out Mike Brunn for writing and composing my intro theme song. On vocals is Kuhu Verma. You can find both of them on Instagram. Mike Brunn is Mike Brunn _ and Kuhu is What Is a Kuhu? That's KUHOO. Thank you so much for listening.